What's up guys, JV2017 here, and I am super excited because Nuka World is only a few hours away. Bethesda released a new video along with a post on Bethesda.net that shares some more great info on the DLC. So in this video, we're going to go over all of the new info from the video and the post. Unfortunately, some of you may find a lot of spoilers in here, even if Bethesda released it themselves. So if you don't want to be spoiled at all, stop watching the video now. Quick reminder, I will be live streaming the first 3 hours of Nuka World tonight at 7 p.m. Central Time right when it launches. That's 5 p.m. Pacific and 8 p.m. Eastern in the US, 1 a.m. British and 2 a.m. Central European in Europe. If you're looking for another specific time zone, I've left a link in the description that will convert to your region. I've also left links to Bethesda's new video and their post in the description if you all are interested. Starting off with some general info, lead level designer Justin Schramm shares that the DLC is a bit smaller than Far Harbor, but it's very dense. There's plenty to do in it, and that makes it almost as big as Far Harbor. It has a similar content offering. At the start of the DLC, we're going to begin at the Raider hub of Nuka World, which is Nuka Town, USA. So the Raiders actually don't have the whole park. There are other areas occupied by monsters and enemies that you will need to take for the Raiders. And yes, I said that correctly. We're going to be taking different parts, different zones of this park for the Raiders because at the very beginning of the story, you're put into a position as the Raider Overboss, which is the ruler of all Raider gangs. This is really weird because I didn't really get this vibe from the trailers. It seemed like we're going to go to Nuka World, get kidnapped, and then, have to kind of convince the Raider gangs to do this and that. But no, we're put into a position as Overboss. We don't know exactly how, but that's how this DLC is going to go down. And really, Bethesda wanted to give players a chance to be the bad guy. But you don't have to be absolutely evil. You can be kind of a kind-hearted Raider, they said. That's kind of a joke around the office that you can be kind-hearted. You don't have to be absolutely, exclusively evil in this DLC. In the Soul Survivor's new position as Raider Overboss, we'll also have a new Raider companion to help guide us in our new role, and that has to be Gage. They didn't name drop Gage specifically, but as I shared in a speculation video, we have a new companion in this DLC. It is Gage, and this is the first time that it's been mentioned by Bethesda. So we do have a new companion. Their name is Gage, and I really like that it's, related to the DLC. It's very much like Old Longfellow. Old Longfellow was a native to Far Harbor, so he really fit in that DLC. Now we have Gage, who is a Raider. It's going to provide some really great insight for the DLC. Next, we have some official confirmation of these Raider gangs and a little more descriptions about them. So first off, we have the Disciples. These are more like classic Raiders, but they are exceptionally bloody and violent, even more so than normal. They're described as being deranged lunatics, interested only in mayhem and murder. They also wear masks to avoid eye contact, and so they don't have to speak to anyone if they don't want to. So these guys are very much classic Raiders, but taken to the nth degree. Next is the Operators, which are the stealthy, more technologically oriented Raider gang of Nuka World, and they are described as efficient and calculating. They are the more snooty upper class gang that wear suits underneath their armor. These guys look pretty slick. We've gotten a lot of different angles of them throughout different footage released for Nuka World, and to be honest, this is probably who I'm going to align with, and look at that armor. It just looks great. That's probably who I'm going to pick. Last, we have the Pack, and they are described as absolutely crazy and the furthest from the normal Raiders that you encounter in the Commonwealth in vanilla Fallout 4. And so they see animals as superior to humans. I assume that's why they have, some very animal-inspired armor going on, some beaks, some, lion manes, all kinds of crazy stuff. So they keep people as slaves, so that's where we've seen the slaves in the DLC, although I have seen slaves with Disciples. They've showed that before, so that's interesting. But anyways, the Pack keep people as slaves and they train animals for fights. So maybe that's what some of the cages are being used for in Safari Adventure. It's really, really interesting. Moving on, we got a really nice look at some of the new weapons and some great descriptions by lead artist Mark Tier. We've also seen him in the Twitch stream for Nuka World. And so some of the weapons in this DLC that were shown off in this video are the handmade automatic rifle. So finally, we have a name we can attach to this AK variant, which is what I've been calling it, or the Chinese assault rifle. It's not the Chinese assault rifle, it's the handmade automatic rifle that takes 7.62 ammo, a brand new ammo type for this game. So that's going to be really interesting. We saw different kind of paint jobs for it, and it deals a fair amount of damage. So I'm going to be excited to use this rifle when I bring my commando build into Nuka World. Next, we got to look at the paddle ball, which at first I thought was a useless kind of junk weapon that really wasn't really worth it. But hey, You can attach spikes to this thing. You can even put weaponized Nuka-Cola on it that lobs nitroglycerin explosions at enemies. And I think we saw this, one of the Protectron was shooting this kind of projectile that's light blue and explodes like quantum. It's really interesting. So there's going to be a lot of modding options in this DLC. Next, Mark showed off the Acid Soaker and described it as being able to melt enemies. And so when it was shown off, it didn't have a lot of damage in kind of, you know, the interface screen where you can see the damage, the fire rate, all of that. But I assume it's got a DOT on it, you know, it deals damage over time because it is acid. So, you know, it remains to be seen whether or not this is going to be a legitimate weapon or just kind of a play weapon in this DLC. Next, they finally showed off what everyone thought was the Nuka World ray gun kind of weapon, but now we know it is the Thirst Zapper, which is just a water gun. And so at first I thought this was just a water gun, it's kind of a joke weapon, whatever, but it can be modded apparently as you discover the secrets of weaponized Nuka-Cola. And so apparently as you progress through the DLC or maybe a side quest, you'll unlock these secrets and unlock more modding options. And so it really looks like projectiles from this footage, at least, that these projectiles are very much similar to the paddle ball with the weaponized Nuka-Cola. With the quantum, you get these nice blue explosions, and so that may potentially be very powerful. So I'm really excited to find that out. Those were all the weapons that were more explicitly explained. However, I caught a few more things. First off, we have this new kind of sledgehammer that has some blades attached to it, but really this reminds me of the rebar club from Fallout New Vegas. I don't know if you guys remember, but it was a piece of rebar stuck through some concrete. This looks like a giant chunk of concrete, and of course, we can mod it further and add some blades to it. So that's going to be a really awesome two-handed weapon in this DLC. We also have some gameplay of this other blade. Now, I don't know if this is just a different attachment, but before we had something that looked like a lawnmower blade that's been turned into a Tonto blade, just kind of the shape of the blade. And this is more serrated. The edge is definitely different, and so it doesn't look like the same blade to me. I don't know if that means we have multiple blades or one blade that can be heavily modded. However, I'm glad we're getting a good selection of new melee weapons in this DLC. To wrap up the video, we also had mention of some of the names of the monsters, so I just wanted to share those with you guys. So the little worm that comes up that we saw in the original trailer, that is a bloodworm, so we know that for sure. We're going to find those in Dry Rock Gulch. And then also the giant alligator deathclaw is called a gator claw. Totally makes sense. So anyways, guys, that was a lot of the new information that was shared today, pretty much the launch day since we're getting it later tonight. So I'd like to hear from you guys in the comment section below. Which Raider gang are you going to choose? Is it going to be the Disciples, the Operators, or the Pack? Share what you're choosing in the comment section below. Alright guys, today we looked at some last minute info for Nuka World. Next time we'll cover more Fallout on my channel, so stay tuned for Fallout 4 tips and tricks videos. If you learned something new or enjoyed this video, please remember to hit that like button, I would really appreciate it. And don't forget to subscribe for more Nuka World coverage, my Nuka World stream tonight at 7 p.m. Central, and general tips and tricks videos. Talk to you guys next time. Peace.